Hello everyone, welcome to the second video, and we are going to discuss in this video the next key section area, which is relate the properties of water to its role in living organisms. Quickly moving into the important properties of water that you need to know for the exam. So the first one is polarity, cohesion and adhesion, universal solvent, high specific heat and density. Well, before we start the cohesion and adhesion, you should know what is the meaning of being polar. Polarity is the property of having two opposite charges or two opposite poles. For example, a magnet. A magnet has two opposite poles, north pole, south pole. So in chemistry or with related to water, if we see something is polar, we mean it has unequal distribution of charges. How do we explain that? Let's look at this particular slide, looking at the polarity of water. Water is a polar molecule. Look how water looks. We all know water, the formula is H2O. So H2, it has two hydrogen and one oxygen molecule. Oxygen is a highly electronegative element. We know that. And hydrogen is an electropositive element. So here, because we have one oxygen, but this oxygen is enough to attract the pair of electrons towards itself. Look, due to this, the water molecule has opposite charges. So it has a partial negative charge on the oxygen side and partial positive charge on the hydrogen side. This is why water is said to be a polar molecule. Polar means two opposite charges in the same molecule. Okay, next you need to know about the hydrogen bonding in water. So hydrogen bonding is a weak bond which is present between the hydrogen atom of one water molecule and the oxygen atom of the other water molecule. Please make sure you know the concept clear. So here, how many water molecules do we have? 1, 2 and 3. So the hydrogen bonding is between hydrogen and oxygen. But here, look, if the hydrogen and oxygen is in the same water molecule, we do not say it's a hydrogen bond. It's a covalent bond. So for the hydrogen bond to form, it should form between hydrogen of one water molecule and the oxygen of the other water molecule, not in the same water molecule. Again, here, this is also a hydrogen bond, which is between the hydrogen of one water molecule and oxygen of the other water molecule. Does this count as a hydrogen bond? The oxygen of the same water molecule and hydrogen of the same water molecule? No. Okay. Next, we have to go into the properties that water has due to this polarity. And some of the properties that we need to know here is the word cohesion and adhesion. So cohesion is the attraction between molecules of the same substance. So if you talk about water attracting another water molecule is cohesion. Okay. So adhesion is the attraction of water with something else, not with water again. So water with anything else, for example, glass. So you have a glass of water. The water sticking to the glass surface is adhesion, and water sticking to water is cohesion. Okay. Due to cohesion, let's look here again. Cohesion is the water molecules attracting another water molecule. Okay. And due to cohesion, it allows water molecules to make oceans, rivers, even the water in your glass. You have the water all together. It's because of cohesion. And also, another important concept you need to know in cohesion is about surface tension. Cohesion creates something called surface tension. You don't have to go into the detail, but remember, surface tension is something which allows things to float on water. So you can see here, this pin is floating in water. It's not sinking down, and this is due to the cohesion or the cohesive property of water. This is called surface tension. Okay. Coming to adhesion. Adhesion is when water molecule sticks to something else, not with the water molecule, another water molecule, but something else other than water. And the important concept under adhesion you should know is the capillary action. Capillary action is when water moves from the roots of the plant. So you have soil, you have root, you water the plants, and the water moves from the root to the top part of the plants. This is due to the capillary action, and this is because water can stick or water can attract other substances. Okay. The next property of water you need to know is that water is a universal solvent. So because the water is a polar molecule, it makes it a very good solvent. It's also called the universal solvent because it can dissolve literally everything. But when I say literally everything, I'm just meaning polar molecules. Anything which is non-polar will not dissolve in water, like your lipids, your oils, your fats. It doesn't dissolve in water, right? So why do you think water is universal solvents? The same concept of polarity. So we know that oxygen has a partial negative charge, so it will attract the positive ions or the positive charge molecules, and the hydrogen has a partially positive charge, so they will attract the negatively charged molecules. Now, due to this, water is able to break the bonds between the molecules. Say, if you have salt, due to this, it can break the bonds between, salt is sodium chloride, so NaCl. So it can break the bonds between Na and Cl, and it can dissolve the salt in it. Okay. So this has applications in literally every part of your body. All the cellular processes depend on water being a universal solvent. Next, we move on to the high specific heat of water. Water has a very high specific heat. What does that mean? Now, we know the water molecules are attracted to each other through hydrogen bonds. It takes a lot of energy to break these bonds. That means if I have to make, like, say, ice into water, I need a lot of energy to do that. So this is why, and water, if you are changing it from one phase to the other, because of the lot of energy is required to change it, there's also a lot of energy required to convert it into the other phase. So if I want to make melt ice into water, I need a lot of energy for that. Now if I would need to freeze down water into ice, it needs a lot of energy to release to be going back to the ice phase. This is all due to the water's high specific heat capacity. So it does not experience large temperature fluctuations. What is the importance of that in living organisms? Because of that, think of a lake. Think of a frozen lake. Now, if it goes from, say, from summer to winter, so from 70°F to 40°F, and the season changes, what do you think? What will happen? If suddenly there's a sudden change, then there'll be a lot of dead aquatic organisms, but this doesn't happen much. Why? Because the temperature of water slowly changes, which allows the organism to adjust and adapt to the water around them. And what is the significance in our body? Our temperature is constant. You know, the normal body, human body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. This is why, what makes it at the optimum temperature, it's water. The high specific heat of water allows the human body to be kept at a particular temperature, the optimum temperature. Next, coming to the density. What is density? Density is how closely packed the molecules are. Okay. Now, water is a very unusual molecule. Why I say that? So usually solids are more denser than liquid. We know that. In solids, the molecules are more closely packed. In liquid, they are not that closely packed. But when we talk about water, they are very unusual. They're very strange. Here, the opposite happens. That means ice is less dense than liquid water. Due to this, you will see that the ice floats on water. And what significance does it have? When it's too much cold around you and the water freezes, the top part of the water freezes, but the ice floats on top of the water. So when you go down the lake or you go down the river, you will see that even when the water is frozen, the down part is liquid. Okay, this allows the aquatic organisms to live even in very cold temperatures. Or else, if ice is not less dense than water, then what would happen? The ice would sink down the ocean or the rivers or the lakes, and that will crush the aquatic organisms, and all of them will die, right? So this was about the important properties of water. Very quickly we discussed it. Now let's discuss some important questions. So a few practice questions, and that will be the end for this lecture. Let's look at this question. So it says that water travels through vascular tissue from the roots to the leaves of a plant, moving against the force of gravity. Of course, we know it moves from down to up, right? Which of the following water properties contribute to water traveling through the vascular tissue? Vascular tissue is your xylem and phloem. We will study about this under plants. So here, what do you think? Why does the water rise up? Remember, I just told you something about capillary action. That is, the water can move from the roots to the top part of the plant because of water sticking to anything else but water. Okay, what is that property called? That's property, we know it's called addition, right? But let's look at the other options. Solubility, something that dissolves in water. Nothing to do with why water rises. We're dissolving anything. No. Ionic bonding, no, we don't find that here. It has covalent bonds, hydrogen bonds, no ionic bonds, right? And high surface tension, we know everything to do with cohesion, water sticking to water. So we know that the answer here is addition. Okay. Moving on to the next slide, says which of the following properties of water prevents enzyme denaturation in the leaves of transpiring plants? Enzyme denaturation is when enzyme is a protein, right? When you heat enzymes too much. Every enzyme has an optimum temperature. So if that optimum temperature is crossed, you heat them too much, they get damaged, they get denatured. This is called enzyme denaturation. But they said, what property of water prevents this from happening? Let's look at the options that we have. Let's start from the down one. Strong covalent bonding. Does it have anything to do with enzyme denaturation? No, it doesn't, right? Because it has something to do with temperatures, right? So low melting temperature. So if it has a low melting temperature, then that means it'll just be the opposite of this. And we know it doesn't have anything to do with this. High polarity. So when you talk about high polarity, and nothing to do with temperature, nothing to do with damaging the enzymes, right? The only answer you have which is suitable here is the high heat of evaporation, which is your high specific heat that we talked about earlier. It actually helps prevent the enzyme denaturation. So your answer here would be high heat of evaporation. Coming to the last part of this slide. So we have, let's look at this question. The black-throated loon, it's an animal, it's a bird that lives near large bodies of water in cold climates. Which of the following is the correct description of the water property make winter temperatures more moderate for the black-throated loon? Let's look at all the options that we have. Let's start from the down. Water is dense, which enables the black-throated loon to float. So water is dense doesn't make any sense. Ice is less dense than water, something like that, but it still doesn't. So they live near the water bodies. Remember, they don't live in the water; they live near the water bodies. So it has nothing to do with density, right? Water has a low specific, this straight away is the wrong thing because it has a high specific heat capacity. We know that. So this is the wrong answer. Ice floats on water. Yes, it does. So insulates the liquid water beneath the ice. Again, it has nothing to do with anything living near water. It has something to do with things which live in the water, right? So this is also a wrong answer. The only probable right answer here, it has a high specific heat capacity. Yes, it does, which buffers the environmental temperature. So this allows any bird or any living organisms to live near large bodies of water in cold climates. So your answer for this question would be option number A. So with this, we conclude this part. I hope you like it, and please comment and give your feedback on what can be improved and what you want in the upcoming lectures to be added. Thank you so much.